Everyone, glad you could join me. Welcome to Cappuccino with Father Capoverdi. Glad you're with us and could join us. Be part of this chat with coffee. I have my cappuccino here. È buona, molto buona. All right, well, welcome. We're here at the Rectory Cafe, as I call it, the Rectory Bar. I don't know if I should call it bar because in Italian, a bar is a cafe, a place where people go and gather and have a cappuccino in the morning, have an espresso later on in the day, have a little digestivo after dinner. It's a cafe like Starbucks or like Fresh Cup, something like that. But if I say bar, people think a seedy, thing on a corner, that people go to in the middle of the day and, drink their life away. That's not what I mean by a cafe or bar at the Rectory. It's a cafe, we'll call it. So we welcome you, and I'm glad you're here. I cut my hair again. I did it this morning. As you can see, I kind of get a little too close over there on the sides. See, I kind of like, but what I do is like I said, I get the comb, and I lift up the comb, and I have this little razor, that I buzz whatever hair is sticking out of the comb. And then I take my hair like the hair stylists do, and they squeeze the two fingers like this, and whatever is sticking out, I cut. So, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know what I'm doing, but I just, I don't like my hair to get too long. And I got to even figure out, I don't know, the place I go to, if they're open or what's going on. But so hope everything is going well. The thing, what's really maddening now, I was watching Fox and Friends, and now Fauci is coming out and saying that the coronavirus really doesn't spread by touching things, surfaces, and by casual contact and conversation with people that, like a walking by them outside, that you have to spend hours and hours with them in order to catch this virus. And if you're with them in a close quarters for hours, that's how you catch it. You believe this? Like I told the people at Daily Mass, I'll predict when the coronavirus will end. I'll predict it. The day after the presidential election, that's when it's going to end. Because this whole thing, China doing what they did, and these riots and social unrest, I don't know. Is it just me? I know it's not just me. I know a lot of you can see right through it. But can't you see right through it that this is all in motion because they just want to try because they think that it's going to harm Trump's chances for re-election? I don't know. That's what I think is going on. Because is it a coincidence that just before the election, when they couldn't get him on the Russia probe, and that came back empty-handed, now all of a sudden this virus comes and the social unrest comes, and everybody's in agreement with that. There needs to be reforms, that, this was a terrible thing that happened to George Floyd. I mean, everybody is in agreement about it. So if everyone's in agreement, what is it? What's it a protest? We all agree, and we all think something should be done. So you gotta petition Congress. You gotta go to the polls. That's really how we change things in America. Look at, traditional Catholics. We just said enough is enough. We're going to the polls, and that's what they did, and that's what we did, and that's how you change things. Traditional Catholics didn't go out and loot and riot and destroy property and tear things down. Really what it is it's mob rule. That's really, we've moved in these big blue states, these big cities in these blue states. We've moved from a democracy to mob rule. Since when can someone tear down a statue that was put up? It has to go into a committee. The city council has to vote on that. People need to be heard and debated. And then the government decides, okay, we're going to take this down. But since when can a mob decide, because of their own beliefs, what statues can stay and what can go? Just by their rule, by their mob rule. Since when is that acceptable in America? Now, there's a beautiful Perry Como statue in near Pittsburgh, because that's where he comes from. My father's favorite. A lot of people think when I talk about my father and how much he loved Frank Sinatra, that Frank Sinatra was his favorite, and he wasn't actually. Perry Como, it was my father's favorite. He loved him more than he did Frank Sinatra. Perry Como, that was my father's favorite. So what if people decide in Pittsburgh, where there's a beautiful statue to Perry Como, that they just didn't like his music and they didn't like the way he sang? I don't know how you could ever think that when you heard him sing. He had a beautiful voice, but maybe they just don't like him. So mobs can tear things down, and then it's acceptable. What if Christians decide they're putting these Satan statues? You see this? How they're doing this in some cities, in these blue state cities? They're putting these like Satan statues. What if we just decided we have a right to tear that down? It's mob rule, and it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous, because I think all this is happening because we've never had an unpeaceful transfer of power from president to president, and this time we did. 4 years ago, in 2016, we didn't have a peaceful transition of power. It was an unpeaceful transition of power. The former administration was trying to subvert the authority of the one coming in and probe, using the mechanisms of government to do it. So that's dangerous. And I knew when I saw all that unfold, and I saw how it wasn't a peaceful transition, because we've always touted that as Americans. That was always something we loved, was the fact that we could have a robust debate and election. And then if the outgoing party was going to be replaced by the opposite party coming in, that was always something that we said was important, that there was a peaceful transition. And 4 years ago, it didn't happen. It wasn't a peaceful transition. They were angry they lost. They were bitter. They were shocked. And they did everything they could to give this president the rockiest road of getting into the White House that he possibly could have. And when that happens, and when you have a press that's taking sides, on the mainstream media that just is completely taking sides, whether it's one side or the other. I mean, I would be happy if they were on my side, but that really wouldn't be good for democracy. They can't be on anybody's side. They should, the mainstream media should be there just to be a referee, and they should just impartially present the news and just tell us the facts, and not be cheerleading for one side or the other. Those two combinations of a non-peaceful transition of two presidents, and a complicit media to be in the pocket of one party as opposed to the other, is diabolical. And that's what we're seeing happen. But the media ignores things that the other, that the team they like does that's pretty bad, and they are picayune about everything that the other guy does that they don't like. You're not going to survive in a situation like that. It's going to be, this is what we're experiencing now, all this turmoil. But these are blue states, they're blue cities, and what are you going to do? they've been in trouble for years with their economies and with the way they spend. And so you don't want to just write them off, but I mean, I don't know. There's no easy solution, but that's why the solution is to pray. We all have to pray. So let me say hello to everyone here as you guys are commenting and writing. Hi, Jean, Natalie, Paul. Great you're watching. Natalie, Rose, Leonetti, Frazier. Good to see you. My cousin Arlene. Hello, Arlene. Good morning. Dennis, glad you're here. Janet from Massachusetts, but joining you from Florida. Excellent. That's great. Good you're in Florida. Kathy, great to see you. Esmeralda, glad you're watching. We had we have our class tonight, so I want to advertise that at 6:00. I'm sure Kathy Kimmel will give me the information so I can post it. We had a special guest last week. My friend John Palangio was joined us, who's a really knowledgeable historian. He doesn't have a degree in history, but he is a real history buff. So we were talking about Americans, Catholics in America, or in American history regarding Catholicism. So I asked him to join. Robin, good to see you. Just got back from Mass. Excellent. We'll be seeing you next week. Yeah. Robin is mentioning, hi, Miriam. Great to see you. You're very faithful in my stream times. Miri, great to see you. Leftwich, glad you're joining. Salvatore, Capalbo, buon pomeriggio for Salvatore. Good morning. Sue and Dennis, I'm glad you're here. Angie, great to see you. Yeah. So yeah, we're, Robin Curlin was mentioning, I'll see you next week, because actually next week I'm going camping. Do you believe that? It's going to be wild because I really don't camp. I was a Boy Scout. I was in the Federal Hill troop. I believe it was Troop 76, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Troop 76. And we actually had our own campgrounds. It was called Camp Bosco, and it was named after John Bosco, which is very interesting. It was probably donated, to the group, to the troop, many years before I got there. And that was our own camping site. It was called Camp Bosco. It had a log cabin facility where we would sleep, and the instructors of the Boy Scouts would take us there, and we used to shoot rifles. I love that. We used to have target practice with rifles. Back then, I don't know if that was allowed or I don't know, but it was fun. I know that, we got to shoot one of the instructors had a rifle and would, load it up for us and hand it to us. It was done very, very, carefully. I remember, kids were standing back, and, the instructor was like right next to us, but we had cans that were set up, that we would shoot. I didn't last very long as a Boy Scout. I ended up just being a tenderfoot, and I didn't really go any further than that. But I still remember it. On my honor, I'll do my duty to God and my country, to obey the scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically straight, more than something like that. Boy Scout is trustworthy, helpful, friendly, kind, courteous, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. So I don't know why I in the late 70s, I remember learning that, and I still remember it. But like I said, I probably was a Boy Scout less than a year. So I'm really not a camper. I don't really, do well in tents and things, bugs, and I don't like, But I was thinking, like how in campgrounds you usually, have a can of like beans, like Boston baked beans, and you cook the beans in the can. So I think I should bring cannellini beans. I'll make cannellini beans in the can. That'll be my way of camping. No, but we're excited about it. A family in the parish has a camper, and they're going to be going all the way to Colorado. I'm just going to go as far as Pittsburgh, like Pennsylvania, with them, near Pittsburgh. And we're excited about it. So I'm going to be posting everything from the road when I'm camping. So I'm going to still do my prayer times. And so I'm looking forward to that. And it'll be fun for you to see, I think, me in a different area of the country. I'll be in Pennsylvania. And we're going to Gettysburg, so that'll be really nice. I've been there before a long time ago, but I'm looking forward to getting there again. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see how I do. Like I said, I have a sleeping bag actually, and a pillow, travel sleeping pillow for the bag. I gotta find it. I don't know where it is. I think it's in the attic or somewhere. I think I just recently put it away, and I was thinking, I don't even know why I have the sleeping bag. I'm never going to use it, I don't think. But you know what? I'm probably going to take it out now. So that'll be really great. Eileen, you're right. They want to erase history. Barry, great to see you. Buongiorno. Jay Gervasini, great to see you. Glad you're watching. I saw Jade actually at that family's house. He was working on something for them to get, maybe for the trip, or I don't think so. I think it was for their house. So it was great to see Jade. Jade was my buddy here, helping me as my right-hand man for a few years ago. So Carla, glad you're watching. Hope everything's going well at home. And we'll be opening up our office very soon. July 1st, the rectory will be open again. There'll be people hopefully hustling and bustling around here. So it'll be good. It'll be good for us to open. And Claudio, hello again. Claudio was at Mass and at morning prayer, so she must have scooted home and turned on her computer. Very good. Keep an eye on the time. Yes, thank you, Carla. I have I mentioned earlier that I have a committal that I have to do. So at 10 o'clock. So I really can't, I have to leave here at around like 10 till. So I have to make sure, that's right, that I keep my eye on the clock. It's in our cemetery. Carla, I think it's in our cemetery, right? I gotta look at the paper that she left me. It's either here or the one next door to us. So yes, it's David. Good to see you. Marco, glad you're joining us. Robin, yep. So Robin Toronto, great to see you. Sherry Antorch, great to see you. My Aunt Mary is watching. Hi, Auntie. Hope glad you're doing well. You've been in my prayers, of course. Amy, Jean, great you're watching. Janine, great to see you. Glad you're watching. And congratulations, like I said, your daughter's graduation. And, I really, that I see this. I was thinking about this, Janine, as I was, seeing your daughter's graduation. I was thinking, we kind of like hop on millennials a lot, and we kind of like, look at millennials and say, oh, they're protesting but there are a lot of them that have their head on straight. They're graduating college. They're in great careers. They're doing service careers where they want to be nurses and teachers. They want to help people. And that really has to do with the family. If the family brings them up well, and if they have good parenting, and if the parents teach them, look, first of all, there's no free lunches, so just remember that everything you have to work hard to get. Secondly, if things don't go your way, then guess what? Too bad, because a lot of things don't go our way. We don't always get our way. Sometimes we have to say no, and sometimes we go through life and we have challenges, and we may apply to something in the future that we won't get. We may vote for somebody who doesn't get in, and we have to live with the consequences because the majority of the people in our state or in our country decided otherwise. So, I really was thinking we really should highlight a lot of these great kids who are graduating college now and who are graduating high school now and who are young adults in their 20s and early 30s and mid 30s. And we should highlight them for a job well done. They grew up under very difficult circumstances. They grew up in a world where things are upside down. And yet they still survived. And how they survived is through good parenting, because the parents taught them very well at home. In schools nowadays, my cousin was telling me that, first of all, they won't call him by his name. Now, he does have a big Italian last name, but it's not that hard to pronounce. It's like Capoverdi. Once you kind of say it a couple of times, it's not that hard to pronounce. So they don't call him that. They call him Mr. Hey, Mr. Hey, Mr. If I were a teacher, there is no way that a student is going to raise their hand. Hey, Mr. First of all, it's Mr. Capoverdi. If I have to pronounce their names, which nowadays names can be very difficult, first names can be very difficult to pronounce, then they should be able to pronounce my name, which is Mr. Capoverdi, if I were a teacher, or Father Capoverdi. So that's like a real problem, that even what they say. Then secondly, he tells me that students can write up teachers. Hey, Mister, I'm gonna write you up. And unbelievable. Like, students can write up teachers, and then they bring it to the principal. And my cousin said, a lot of times the principal sides with the student, and the teacher is like caught in the middle, and it's not how it happened, how the student is describing it, and typically they're the ones that get reprimanded, the teachers, because they can do that. Okay. That's a very good point. Thank you. All right. So, well, listen, I have to go because I have the committal, and it's something I have to get to. So, but anyway, I really think though we have to look at these things and really be aware of them, and make it a point that we're really going to be aware of what's around us and what's happening. So, and then change it, but change it not through mob rule. So, well, have a great day. Like I said, I have to go. I'm sorry we had to cut it short today, but have a great day. And please know you're in my prayers. And we'll see you later on in the day for the rest of prayers. Please keep in touch and with the day and the prayer times. And we'll see you soon. God bless. God bless.